You're listening to the Not Too Late Show, the only show where a divorce lawyer tells you the hard truths. Please welcome Sarah Schnare and divorce attorney James Sexton.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. What another beautiful day. We get to host the It's Not Too Late podcast. I'm having so much fun, right, James? Aren't we enjoying this?
Always having fun. When I get to hang out with you, it's always fun, Sarah.
That's how I feel. It's good to see you again. You've been everywhere. What have you been doing since I last saw you?
You know, I'll tell you something. I've been doing the impossible for the ungrateful. That's what I've been doing. I had an experience in court. I had an experience in court this morning. I don't even, you're going to think I'm making this up, but I'm not actually this creative. So I couldn't make this up if I tried. So I'm in the middle of a custody proceeding where I represent a father. And it's been alleged for, the last couple court appearances that this guy has a drinking problem, which personally, I think it's entirely possible. He always looks like I'm just like beat up when I see him. Like he looks very tired. And, he always says, well, I drink, but I don't drink that much. And anytime somebody says like, I don't drink that much, it's kind of like when someone's like their body count, it's like if they say 4, it's 20, so if somebody says, well, I had 1 beer. It's like, I'd say 3. Okay. Yeah. So, we're there for like another court appearance and we're there for status conference. The judge is going to check in on things. And every court appearance, there's allegations that the guy has an alcohol issue. And every time I say, Your Honor, it's ridiculous. These false allegations. So we go in, we're sitting in the court. We're sitting in the waiting room. No joke, half an hour waiting for this case to get called. I chat with this guy about the weather. I chat with him about what I drive a Jeep. He's asking me about my Jeep. We're talking about, what we're watching on Netflix. And we get into court and we're standing there and the opposing counsel says, well, his drinking issue continues to be a serious problem. I said, Your Honor, every appearance, opposing counsel makes these false allegations against my client regarding his drinking. And I've really had enough of it at this point. Opposing counsel says, well, is Mr. Sexton aware his client was arrested for a DWI on Friday night?
No.
Now, let me tell you something. I'm pretty good at a poker face.
How do you not? Yeah.
I just went, if I may, Your Honor, just 1 second, if I may. And I lean over, where no one, and I say to him, is this fucking happening? He says, oh yeah, I'm going to fight the charge though. And I'm like, okay, this is not, I felt like Adam Sandler in The Wedding Singer. Like, it was like, this is things you could have brought to my attention yesterday, So I said, well, Your Honor, I said, look, and obviously there's an allegation that's been made just because someone is charged. Last time I checked, we're innocent until proven guilty just because my client was subject to a random stop. And that this is not, again, due process. Meanwhile, I'm standing there going, what? Why would you? You talked about the weather with me. You wouldn't have said, by the way, Jim, I got arrested on Friday night for a DWI and we're about to go into court. This is insane. So yes, I'm a little worked up. I apologize.
I kind of agree. Well, what is your poker face? I want to see. So when you're just exposed to this big surprise and you're like, oh yeah, what did you do?
You just go, Your Honor, I think it's interesting the counsel wants to just shift the dialogue to these other issues as if that were germane to the matter at bar. The reality, we're here. My client loves his children. Let's focus on that.
Right.
Let's focus on. Let's not focus on him getting whacked up and driving behind it. Actually, I wouldn't say that, but that is what you're thinking. I mean, it's
and his takeaway is, "I'm going to fight it. I'm going to fight it." Yeah, that's not really the issue, buddy. Is whether you get off on this DWI.
Yes,
reckless, whatever.
Look, there's 2 people in the world you shouldn't lie to: your doctor and your lawyer. That's it. Everybody else, lie your head off if you want. But your doctor and your lawyer, our only job is to protect you. And we need to know what's going on. Like, if I understand if you're ashamed you smoke cigarettes, but lie to everybody. Don't lie to your doctor. They need to know that you smoke cigarettes. Even if they're going to go, well, you really shouldn't smoke cigarettes. It's okay. Just tell them. Like, if you got a DWI, I understand you don't want to tell your mother, your grandmother. Tell your lawyer. Please tell your lawyer, because we need to know that sort of thing.
Yeah, but the good thing is you have another great story to tell because you've been doing this for so many years. You've seen thousands of marriages. You even wrote this amazing book based on this. And now you have another story that you get to share with everyone. Let me give you a proper introduction. I'm Sarah Schnare, and I am one of your co-hosts of this fantastic podcast. And the person you've been listening to rant and rant and rant, who doesn't really know his clients very well, is Mr. James Sexton, America's hard-hitting divorce attorney.
If I don't know my clients well, it's only because they're not telling me stuff. It's not that I don't ask. You know what? From now on, before every court appearance, I'm going to say, by the way, how are you? Yeah. What do you think of the weather lately? By the way, have you been arrested for an alcohol-related offense in the last 48 hours? I didn't realize I had to ask.
If you're in my office, it's already too late. A Divorce Lawyer's Guide to Staying Together. Great book. Pick it up. It's doing quite well on Amazon's #1 bestseller list. So check it out. James, we've got another set of great questions today. Let's jump right into it now that we're all fired up. Ready?
You got it.
First one is coming from Trey. This is going to sound crazy, but this is a real question. Looks like my future ex and I need to round up all of our possessions, get a value on everything, and then they will split stuff up. I had to list all of my possessions that I bought in the marriage. I wrote down watches, golf clubs, skis, stuff like that. My future ex wrote down like one handbag. Can I get credit for the breast implants and ass implants she said she needed? She's a realtor, not a Kardashian, but it was so important that she get them. I bought it for her, but now I feel that needs to be on her list. If she thinks she's taking my watches or callaways, then I'm taking those boobs and that butt. Can I make sure those are included on her list? Sincerely, Trey. First of all, before I even bring this to you, James. Okay, so she's being compared to Kardashian butt boob implants, and she listed one handbag. That was my takeaway.
I find that hard to believe. One handbag is
all she bought? Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I you know what? My radar went up on that too. And I thought, well, I would use that to impeach his credibility because there's no way she only has one bag. But maybe she's a shoe girl. You know, it could be a shoe girl. It could be that she's got like one bag, but it's a Birkin. And then she has like 4,000 Louboutins and Chanel and she's got all the shoes. It could be. Some people are not bag people, you know.
Does it matter though when you ask, when you tally this stuff up? Whose credit card? Does that matter? Or is it?
Doesn't matter. No, if you're married, married, you're one person. You buy your spouse a Birkin, you bought yourself one half a Birkin. You buy your spouse a Rolex, you bought yourself one half a Rolex. You're one person in the eyes of the law. But I have to tell you something, Sarah. I get this question so much about the boob implants. Not so much the butt implants, but the boob implant. Oh my God, man. People ask about the boobs.
Are they bitter? Why?
Here's why. Right? I'll tell you, I have a theory. I have a theory on this one. And that is that a lot from what I've seen, 25 years of doing this, women who are considering getting divorced quite frequently get boob implants or get cosmetic procedures done, partly because I think they know they're going to be out on the market again, or maybe because they're dissatisfied in the relationship and they're interested in seeing what else is out there. Or maybe, again, their self-esteem might be kind of low because they're in an unhappy relationship with their partner. Again, I don't know the explanation for it, but I can say there is a correlation here. And so what happens is person gets implants. Again, maybe they're unhappy in their relationship and they go, I know if I feel better about my body, I'll feel better about my life and thus my relationship. They haven't identified the thing that's making them miserable, that they don't need implants, that they need to lose 200 pounds in the form of their soon to be ex. They need to lose that weight. And so guys come in and go, hey, wait a minute. 6 months ago, I spent 10 grand on her boobs. I want that money back. I mean, they don't want the boobs back. But they want the money back because it burns them to think someone else is going to enjoy those breasts now. Like I paid for those breasts and someone else is going to get to enjoy those breasts now. The reality is there's nothing you can do about that. There's nothing you can do about it. That is a decision.
Why not?
Well, there was a decision made during the marriage. Courts do not like to go back and second guess the financial decisions people made during the marriage. And think about the logistics of valuing whether you got to enjoy those or not and received value from them. I mean, if you one time got to enjoy her newly enhanced breasts, well, what value would you place on that? Some people might say that one time getting to enjoy someone's breasts is worth whatever the cost of those breasts were, depending on how nice the breasts are. So courts are not going to get into that. So courts just say, look, if you made economic decisions during the marriage, we're not going to touch it. The only thing courts will do is if while an action is pending, someone does something like take money out of a joint account and get breast implant. I had a case where someone got $50,000 worth of veneers They got brand new teeth during a divorce. So the divorce started, and a few months into the divorce, they took money out of the joint account, got $55,000 worth of veneers. Court said, that's fine. You had a right to do it because half that money's yours, but he ain't paying for half your veneers because this was after the divorce was commenced.
Got it. So Trey might have a chance if this had happened later on in the relationship, like during the divorce proceedings.
I would say during the divorce proceedings, or literally like right before she filed, not he filed, she filed. Because if he filed, she might not have known he was going to file. She might have got those breast implants in good faith. But if she got the breast implants on Monday and filed for divorce the following Monday, you can't say, oh yeah, I didn't know about it a week ago. So again, but generally, man, just let it go. I think what really, having been in the room with guys like this, what they're really upset about is that they bought breasts for this person, and now they feel like someone else is going to enjoy them. Look, under your skin is under your sovereignty. And this is her body, and she has the right to do what she's going to do with her body. You have the right to do what you want with your body. You guys are going to live separate lives now. You got to kind of get past that. And I know it's upsetting to think that your spouse, your soon-to-be ex-spouse is going to be with other people. But that's the nature of divorce. Sorry,
Trey. Sounds like you're out of luck and that booty is going to somebody else. Hate to tell you, buddy.
But one bag. I mean, listen, he did all right during the relationship if all he had to do was buy her one bag. That's pretty good.
Oh, James, that is terrible. Why would you bags? Like, just obviously you know about this. How do you know what? We're going to move on to the next question.
Bag? There's no grown man who hasn't bought a few bags in his life for someone he's dating or married to.
Okay, but wait, do you mean bags is like the implant? I know we're
my God, no, I meant bags. He said one handbag.
Oh,
good Lord.
Sorry.
What do you think I am?
I don't know.
My God, like Sarah, we know each other far too long for you to think I'm referring to something as lovely as a woman's breasts as a bag. I don't even like using the term boobs. It sounds silly.
Cut. Let's not. We're going to move on. I'm super embarrassed. Okay, next question. Oh, that was a good one. Okay. Dear James,
I will be bringing that up again sometime, by the way. You're going to wear something low cut, and I'm going to be like, how's your bags? There's going to be something. I'm never letting you live that one down, Sarah, ever.
You know a lot about a lot. So I just wouldn't have been surprised if you knew the, medical terminology. No, but when you have implants, it's called like the bags. Like someone will say, how many cc's? Well, here's the bag. And this is so, I don't know. Never mind. Okay.
I don't know those things. I learned from you, Sarah. You got it all wrong here. You should have the book. I don't know what they're doing.
You're welcome.
Giving me the money for the book.
Welcome. Glad I can be of assistance.
Absolutely.
Dear James, my soon-to-be ex-husband is a successful guy. He works hard, makes a lot of money, but he also plays hard. Expensive trips with the boys, type of stuff. How can I ensure that my ex-spouse is fulfilling his responsibilities in providing a safe and nurturing environment for our children during his custody time? I think that the court sees how well he provides for his kids, but they don't see what little dad time he provides. What steps can I take to arrange counseling or therapy for the children? And how will this factor into the custody proceedings? Thanks, Alexandra. Looks like we have 3 questions there, really.
Yeah, that's a whole bunch of questions. Yeah. And they're related, but they're kind of only tangentially so. So I'll do my best. So one, it sounds like you have a question about, Alexandra, about whether or not he has to spend quality time with the kids when he has them. Because the way that was put together, it sounded like, he has a lot of stuff he's into doing with his buddies, whether it's like sports or whether it's going out and doing stuff. And you're worried perhaps that he's doing
dad time. Right.
When he has the kids. Okay. No, I totally get it. And that's exactly what I think she meant by dad time. So here's the question. I guess the question would be is if you have a 50-50 parenting schedule, meaning where both of you have roughly the same amount of time, then you both have a lot of time with the kids. So it's unrealistic to think that when he has the kids, the only thing he's going to be doing is focusing on the kids. People have a right to, just like she does, to, when you have your kids, to spend some time for yourself as well, to recharge. Might even make you a better parent if you can run out and catch that yoga class or run out to the gym and get a little workout in. even when you have your kids, at that period of time. But if he only has the kids like once a week for dinner and every other weekend, and he's going away on those weekends and leaving the kids with a babysitter, court will get involved in that. If you don't use your parenting time, you lose your parenting time. So if this is something he's doing habitually and he doesn't have a lot of scheduled time with the kids, and during that even limited scheduled time he has, he's not actually spending time with the kids, that is something where a court can very much get involved. So that's a fact. The second question was about therapy and kids. Courts are very, very friendly towards therapy. Courts generally think that both litigants should be in therapy, both parents individually should be in therapy, that the kids should generally be in therapy. Again, even if there's nothing quote unquote wrong with their mental health, meaning if they don't have significant mental health issues, but just the fact that they're going through a transition in life where their parents are separating, courts are very, very open to children having someone to talk to about the transition that's happening in their family. And generally, courts are going to really encourage both parents to communicate appropriately with the children's therapist to try to adjust their behavior and take feedback from the therapist. I mean, I've seen cases where like everybody's got a therapist. I've seen cases where mom's got a therapist, dad's got a therapist, the kid has a therapist, and then there's a family therapist who's like the quarterback who talks to all three of those other therapists and then kind of gets back to the group and says, hey, here's what everybody's working on and here's how we can all support each other's therapy. And I got to tell you, that's a lovely thing when people can support each other that way as individuals and as a family.
I wasn't even aware that kids receive that kind of therapy. Is that helpful? Or does it depend on kind of what age they are to really receive the information?
I mean, I don't know. My personal feeling is I don't know a lot of people that have been harmed by being in therapy. I think that at best or at worst, it's just not helpful, right? It's just someone to talk to that you're not really taking their advice or you're not being honest with them, but it's not hurting, right? It's not going to make you less mentally healthy to have someone to talk to. But I mean, kids where parents are divorcing. I've had kids as little as 2-3 years old who go into art therapy or pet therapy when their parents are divorcing.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've found, and one of the things I've done for 20 plus years, Sarah, is I'm what's called an AFC, an attorney for children. It's a very small part of my practice, but it's a part I actually really enjoy, where I represent children in connection with custody proceedings, where we have an ugly, contentious divorce. Sometimes judges will appoint an attorney for the child to be the child's voice in the courtroom. And a lot of I say I like the job because I'm often representing the most mature person in the situation when I represent the child. And I have to tell you, I've seen some therapists who've done really great work with kids, helping them work through things. Again, kids don't sit down like grown-ups do and do the like, so, what do we want to talk about today? And let's process your emotional state. They do things like draw pictures. They do things like pet therapy, and they talk or they play games. And in that discussion, things come out about what they're feeling. Right. And so I'm fascinated by that. And again, I think there's a lot out there that people can avail themselves of when it comes to resources for their kids when they're going through a divorce themselves.
That's really interesting. I never knew that. Thanks, James. That's great. Look what else you do. That's really cool. That's
good therapists make a point, like good lawyers, good divorce lawyers. We make a point. Like I've got like a list of probably a dozen therapists for people. I've got a bunch of marriage counselors. I've got a bunch of, therapists for kids. And I'm quick to refer people to those kinds of professionals. All good divorce lawyers are.
I love that. Thanks for your question, Alexandra.
Yeah, great one, Alexandra.
That's good. All right. So we're moving on. This one's about cheating. Ooh. Yo, James. Yo. I feel so stupid writing this, but my wife cheated on me with a guy I considered a friend. He is part of our neighborhood friend group. I knew in my gut something was off when we were all hanging out at barbecues and pool parties. They would never look at each other, never be on the same trivia or bocce ball team. Oh, no. It was just off. A few months ago, his wife called me and said she found texts and pics of my wife on his phone. This dude was my friend. I helped paint his fucking man cave. Here's my question. Can we subpoena his ass and make him testify? I want everyone to know the type of guy he is. If she wants him, she can have him, but not before I let the world see what a scumbag he is. So is it possible that we can subpoena him and make him testify? Thanks, dude. Sal. Oh,
Sal. I'm sorry that happened to you, man. That is miserable. That's a double betrayal. It's a betrayal with your spouse and it's a betrayal with your friend. So those are two terrible things that are probably almost equally hard to get past. But together, the concomitant effect of those two things, I can only imagine. So my heart goes out to you, man. What I will say to you on a practical level is, when you go looking for revenge, the best step is to start by digging 2 graves because it's not going to help you ultimately. It's like reaching into hot coals to throw them at the person you're mad at. You may or may not hit at them, but you're going to burn the shit out of yourself. So I would encourage you, as much as it sounds like you have every right to be angry at both of these people, to let that anger exist, but also not let it control the decisions that you make. Letting everybody know what a scumbag he is, your words, it's not going to make you feel any better. It's not going to change the situation. It's not going to change the depth of that betrayal. The best revenge is living well. What I will tell you from a legal standpoint is courts do not allow people to just weaponize the ways they've been hurt in a marriage. In divorce proceedings, courts are very, very limited in third-party discovery, discovery is what we call it as lawyers when we use different procedural mechanisms to get information. So if I want to see a spouse's credit card statements, I issue a subpoena and I can review their credit card statements, which I get right from the bank or from the credit card company instead of relying on the other party to give them to me because they might try to change something. I get it right from there. That's called discovery. Discovery is when you use legal processes to get information in the purest form possible. So if I want a police report, I can subpoena from the police department under a certification. That's discovery.
Okay.
Divorce courts are very, very careful not to allow third-party discovery on non-financial issues unless it's absolutely necessary to prove something that needs to be proved in the litigation. So if, for example, an issue in the custody case is that your spouse was going out at night when she was supposed to be watching the kids and supervising the children, and she'd leave them home alone and their homework wouldn't get done because she was running around with this guy, then the court might let some testimony about your ex-friend into the courtroom, but they're not going to let you subpoena phone records and text messages and photographs and, use this in a public way to try to make him look bad or to use litigation to punish him. Also, too, that is such an expensive way to punish somebody through litigation for yourself because you're going to be paying a lawyer to do discovery and to do those kinds of things. And it's not going to accomplish what you want it to accomplish. Someone can be, and this is a hard thing to hear, someone can be a terrible, terrible spouse and a pretty good parent. It doesn't really necessarily have much to do with their parenting. I agree that some of the skills of a parent and some of the skills of a spouse are the same. Patience, good communication skills, those kinds of things, loyalty, reliability. But, people do dumb shit when it comes to relationships and sex. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not a good parent. So the only way this is coming in, most states are no fault states. So you don't have to prove, like I've said before on the show, there's no good spouse bonus or bad spouse penalty. You don't get anything extra because you didn't cheat. And she doesn't really lose anything because she did cheat, even if it was with your best friend, even if it was a guy who you helped paint the fucking man cave, even if it was with your brother or your cousin. There's nothing you can do about it except move on. Good riddance to bad rubbish. You got, it sounds like you got a good friend group. And you said that he's part of your friend group. You got every right to tell your friend group that this is not a person who's trustworthy. And something tells me if your friend group are real friends, they're going to see that for the betrayal that it is. And he may not be in that friend group anymore. And then all he'll have to show for it is the divorce. It sounds like he's going through also. So hang in there, man. That's a tough road you're on.
And just to piggyback off of something that you said earlier, James and Sal, not to diminish your pain at all, but I had a really close friend of mine and he was cheating on his wife with his wife's best friend. I mean, for a year at least, maybe even longer. And they were going to soccer games with their kids and really part of each other's family. And when I found out via social media, when she found out, she was livid and she was hurt. She went to all the social media platforms and just crushed him. And that's how I found out. And I have to say, as terrible and disgusting. And it's awful. It didn't really rub me the right way to have to find out via social media. I mean, she was hurt, but not the best way to handle it. And it actually changed a lot of our relationships and our dynamic with her because people didn't really want to support that bad behavior. So,
well, you know why cannibals don't eat divorced people, because they're bitter.
Oh, that's a terrible analogy.
It really is. But the truth is divorced people, there's a bitterness there. And you're right. Yeah. It's a bad look. When someone posts on Facebook or any social media, my spouse is a piece of garbage. They slept with my best friend. Listen, you're right. Yeah. The spouse, that changes my view of that spouse, but it also changes my view of you. Why are you posting that? Why are you putting that out there? I agree. But I understand the hurt, as I think you do too, Sarah. Look, we've all had our hearts broken. We've all been cheated on. We all know what that feels like. And it's a really unfortunate situation to be in, but also, it's, take the high road, man. When they go low, you go high.
I was just going to say that. It's one of my favorite Michelle Obama quotes. When they go low, we go high. Oh, what a great message to end on, James. I love that.
Yeah.
Good one. Thanks for all your questions, you guys. Those were great. And James, I love talking to you. Next time, you're going to have some even crazier story to share with me.
Oh, God, I hope I don't have a crazier one than that one today, because I got to tell you, I'm going to start asking everybody, did you have a DWI over the weekend? That's going to be my new question all the time. Yeah.
Well, thank you for listening. It's Not Too Late podcast, and we love getting to talk to you guys. James, I will see you soon.
See you soon, love. Bye, everybody.
If you have any relationship or divorce questions and want to hear from attorney James Sexton, be sure to email podcasts@lamag.com.